Hi, welcome back to my 7 key attributes of top online marketer series. This is video number 3, which is about focus. So far we've covered commitment and now we're going to cover focus. One thing that I've learned by meeting and hanging around top earners is that they have an immense sense of focus. They have a very clear focus. If you asked any of them what their goals were, they could clearly map out all of their goals, when they were going to achieve them by, the steps that they were going to take to achieve those goals, and several sub-goals along the way to achieving the big goals. Also, one thing that I noticed is that when they're setting goals, if they get close to achieving their main goal, they'll move the goalpost. So they're constantly moving the goalpost. And why would they do that? Well, one of two things. You chunk down your big goal into smaller sub-goals and then set out action steps to get you to each point. This helps build up momentum. It also means that every time you achieve one of those sub-goals, you can celebrate the success of achieving that sub-goal. That improves your mindset. It motivates you because you know you're taking steps forward and you're getting closer to that end goal. But it also builds up momentum. So every time you're reaching one of these sub goals, you're feeling energized, you're feeling excited. You want to throw yourself even more into achieving the next few steps, taking all the action that you need to, and being really, really focused in on what you're doing and why you're doing it and when you're doing it and where you're doing it and how you're doing it and the order that you need to do it in to get you to that end point. And why would they move the goalpost constantly when they're before they've even achieved that goal? They kind of move the goalpost even further. Well, it's just to keep the momentum. If you waited until you achieved that main goal, you'd get to that end point, and then you'd have to rethink where you wanted to go from there. And by that time you've rethought it and found where you want to go to next, you've lost some of the momentum you've gained along the process getting to where you are currently. So it becomes a bit of a stop-start process. And anyone that's really, truly successful in their business knows that you need to keep moving those goalposts to keep you motivated, to keep that momentum going, and to keep yourself focusing on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But one thing I've also noticed with them is they have this sense of eagle vision. So eagles are able to, at the same time, look at the fine detail and look at the bigger picture at the same time, and that helps them in their hunting process. Successful entrepreneurs are similar in that sense. They're able to look at the bigger picture, so they know where their bigger goals is and they know long term where they want their business to go. But also they're looking at the fine detail, all those little steps and the actions that they need to take them along the way to get to the end goal of that they've set themselves. So it's being able to see some fine details, but also being able to see the bigger picture at the same time, and so important, because if you're always looking at the fine detail, you can get lost in the detail. And if you're always looking at the long-term goals and you're looking at the bigger picture, you lose your clarity and focus on the finer steps that you need to be taking. So you need a balance of both. So you need to be looking at the fine detail but not getting lost in it, and you also need to look at the bigger picture without losing the definition of the fine detail. So it's a bit of a balancing process, and they're very, very good at managing this. And clarity is king here. You need to be very, very clear on what it is that you need to be focusing on, and you need to make sure that your focus is honed in on what it is that is going to take you towards your goals, and not being distracted and being pulled away from it. I mean, how many of you can identify with, you go on to place an ad on Facebook, or you go on to Facebook to put some business posts on, and then you get distracted by that cute animal video, and you watch the video, and that might only take 3 minutes, but then there's another video. Or you look at somebody's status update, and you look at somebody's pictures, and then you click like, and you place a few comments, and then suddenly a couple of hours has gone past and you still haven't done that task that you actually logged in to do. So you've been distracted and you've lost the focus on the task that you needed to take. I find that top earners, they are aware of distractions. Doesn't mean that they don't get distracted. They're human, so yeah, of course they get distracted, but they're very good at managing the distraction to a minimum. So if they're going to go onto Facebook or social media for business purposes, that's their focus, that's what they're doing. They might post a little comment here and there, but generally they'll factor in time later to do that. And the same with opening their emails. I know some really successful multimillionaires within the online marketing sector. For email answering, they only set one time span in the evening to check those emails and reply to them, and their rule is if you open it, you reply to it there and then. Don't open it and store it for later, because one, you'll forget it, or two, it's obviously not important, or you'll forget. So yeah, that's a really good tip that I got from some of the earners that I met at the last training. Also really important to not be distracted by your favourite TV programme. You know, by all means factor in the things that you feel that you want to watch, but you know, don't get distracted. If you've got tasks that you need to get done, get those done first and then go enjoy the other things, the other distractions later. So that's the main point of focus and clarity, really. So that takes us to the end of video 3, and we'll be back soon with video 4.